Thank you everyone for joining tonight, this evening, our Shoes in Bitcoin webinar dedicated to women. But we cannot do anything actually in this environment without men. So we have a very good majority of men here this evening with us. So thank you everyone for joining. You are with Shoes in Bitcoin. Unfortunately, I have to distract you. We're not going to talk about shoes. We're going to talk about Bitcoin only. First, I'd like to make sure that everybody is capable to hear me and we don't have the same issues like we did last time. Perfect. I haven't seen any complaints yet, so I would go for it. Everybody is capable to see the wonderful shoes of Bitcoin that I'm sharing with you. And of course, my face, which is in green. Okay, it's wonderful. Thank you. So, first, I would like to introduce to you our speakers and the people who are supporting me and are going to share their experiences with us. This is Beatrice Albertini, the Bitcoin People Community and Social Media Manager here in Brescia. Hi, Beatrice again.
Hi, everybody.
Hi, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
We have also with us Valerio Vaccaro, who is a Bitcoin expert, a very, very solid one from the very beginning, I would say, within the industry and learning and knowing Bitcoin. If we have to compare the majority of the people who know about the technology, there are just a few who are really so dedicated to it and are capable even to create additional platforms connected with analytic tools on Bitcoin. He's going to give us some more information about his experience and his achievements so far. The rules and objectives. What is it? This is a webinar. It is dedicated to women. Why? Because we're going to keep it really basic. I mean, we're not going to talk on a very technical language. We are not going to talk about what is multi-signatures, SegWit, Lightning, and so on. This is the first steps in Bitcoin. All the questions will be answered, questions which are typed in the chat box. I would like to ask everyone to stay on mute just to keep our webinar without any needful interruptions. In case of questions on the topic, such will be answered as I've mentioned to you. Who are you going to meet? I've already mentioned to you Beatrice and Valerio. I'm going to provide some details to you as well at the end of this webinar. How you can keep learning Bitcoin, and I'm going to provide some links to, let's say, the biggest influencers in this industry and the technology. Why I'm doing it? I'm doing it because I'm really passionate about this technology. I have a 12 years experience, not within this technology, in the IT and business process outsourcing world. And once I understood what Bitcoin is, first it was really hard for me as a woman to understand it. I mean, I won't hide it. I needed lots of time really to be capable with confidence to create such an event like we do this evening. I see lots of other people are joining us. Thank you. Welcome everyone. Just stay on mute. Before we continue, I'd like to encourage everyone who is new to Bitcoin just to be patient with him, herself, respectively, because it is really a challenging technology. I mean, you have to read, you have to spend lots of time learning before you can feel confident and you know what you're doing. So be patient with yourself. So I would like to give the floor to our special guest, Valerio Vaccaro. Hi, Valerio. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome. Good evening.
Good evening. Valerio, I would just if you don't mind, just introduce yourself and tell us why Bitcoin, since when you're in this environment, tell us more about your achievements and so on. Thank you.
Okay. Very hard question. I'm a developer from too much years, and I start work in in technology, in new technologies like ancient time, in ancient time on RFID or Internet of Things. And during this experience at my university, I started to check about other new technology also. I was studying for 1 week Bitcoin, and I said, "Oh, it's simple. It's not working. It's too much complicated. Need a lot of effort for do little things, and there is no money in it." And like a lot of people start.
Yeah, everybody who is joining this
Yeah.
technology, they're thinking, "Oh, Bitcoin! Now we are
Yes.
going to make lots of money," but
No,
this is not the case.
yeah. And after I changed some work, and some years ago, I come back to Italy, and I start search for something to do, and thanks God, I found Bitcoin, and I started working on Eternity Wall. Eternity Wall was an Italian company that allow you to write on the Bitcoin blockchain some phrases. This was very interesting. We was recognized worldwide for this, but was very hard to make money only with this service. So we started to work with Open Timestamp Protocol. The Open Timestamps Protocol is an open protocol that allow you to give a timestamp to a digital document, and it's an open protocol. It's totally open. You can find out an implementation, but you can also find a lot of people that use, or you can find some application for mobile phone, and you can use for free, totally. It means that there are 5 calendars around the world that for free give you the opportunity to add a timestamp on your document, and these timestamps are recorded in the Bitcoin blockchain. So I work for some year for Eternity Wall, and after we decide to enter in the Green Wallet team. So actually, we are all working for Blockstream.
Is it so green like I'm green right now? Or
yeah,
green?
it's green. Yeah. It's different. It's bit more dark, but it's
okay.
and we decide to move. We close Eternity Wall, and we move to work for Blockstream in the development of the Green Wallet, and a lot of other crazy and funny stuff.
Great, perfect. Thanks for this intro. I'm sure that unfortunately the majority of the people here are not yet on that level completely to understand maybe what is a wallet. So this is something most probably we're going to talk about, if not today, one of the next episodes, where you can give us examples from the software that you are supporting its development, if I got it properly. So is it a type of an open source based software that's available for everyone?
Yeah, it's just the sorter that allow you to move some Bitcoin from one account to another.
Great, thanks Valerio. So I'm going to address some of the questions to you during this presentation. So you will, yeah, if you are willing, you'll be, let's say, supposed to help us with identifying these new words to us. Like, for example, what is blockchain? I see nowadays lots of people are talking about Bitcoin blockchain. Everybody is blockchain expert. What is it? My understanding, it's like a ledger, like an accounting book with lots of numbers and letters in it. What exactly is blockchain?
Okay, it's a very simple concept, and it's the way to store information in the for it's the way to store transaction information. I mean, we have a lot of a lot of transaction. A transaction is a movement of money, of Bitcoin. So if I send some Bitcoin to you, I need to create a transaction, and don't worry, the wallet create for you, and you don't have to take care. But I send this transaction on the blockchain, but I cannot write directly the blockchain. The blockchain is the book, is the file that record every transaction. And in order to avoid problem in who can write inside this book, the algorithm is very simple. You can try to write, if you are a miner, you try to write a book, in this book, a block, and a block is a set of transactions.
Okay, and, so literally this is something like, sorry for the interruption, just for the rest of the people to be able to imagine it. For example, if I right now open my online bank account, for example, and see all the transactions I've made during the years, it's kind of blockchain. I mean, yeah, it's without blocks, but it's kind of literally everything that I received and sent as a...
It's a ledger.
It's a ledger.
It's a book in which they record every information. The idea of blockchain is to separate transaction in block. I mean, 10 transactions can be a block, and to link everyone. So block and chain. The chain is a chain between blocks. How you can do it? Oh, it's very simple. You can create your block on top of a previous block and insert some characteristic of the previous block in your block. So I can create a chain, and this is very important because I want to be sure that I read the block in the right sequence and there is no a missing block in the middle. It's the same if you saw some very old book in which they manually write every transaction, every movement of money. You can recognize easily that the page has a number, and you cannot take out a page and say this is the right number. So the blockchain is just the structure. So you can divide your transaction in blocks. I mean, separate by this idea of divide transaction in block, create a block, and on top and chain insert some information of the previous blocks. So you can create a chain of blocks. This is the meaning of blockchain, and it's very simple. It's not okay. It's very simple for computer, For human, maybe it's not the most immediate way to check a chain of action.
Right. Thank you. So most probably we have to come back to this topic once again. So first I'd like we to think about what is Bitcoin. And before answering this question, maybe it would be a good idea if we think about once again we answer the question what actually money is. What is money? So how money have been created in the past when people wanted to exchange their values or their creations. Like for example, I create wonderful pair of shoes and this is my product. I've spent X time to create this product, and Beatrice creates wonderful dresses. But I have enough dresses and I don't want to buy right now to exchange my shoes to Beatrice's dresses because I want the scarves that Valerio is creating. So this is a way, because people could not only exchange the things that were their main products and values. There must be something in the middle, which the first thing which was in the middle, it was actually the gold. Gold was considered as money, and people have been exchanging it in order to receive respectively a product or a service. So this is the unified system, a very old one. Bitcoin is something completely different. Why? Because, for example, here, that's why if you have a look on it, we see Alice and Alice and Bob, who, for example, Alice, she has Bitcoins, and Bob, he has this wonderful pair of shoes, and Alicia wants to buy these shoes from him. But instead of going to her bank or doing it remotely and paying lots of taxes, because Bob is in Italy and she's in the US, Alicia is just using Bitcoin as the simplest and the fastest way, because first it will be almost for free, just because actually when the miners are validating the transactions, for example, I make a request right now. It's not a request. I'm not sure, Valerio, kindly ask you in case I'm not using the proper technical wording when I'm explaining, just to make some remarks and to tell me a better word that I can use in order not to confuse additionally the people. But the idea is that this is completely instant. All the transactions within Bitcoin are happening, I would say, within seconds. Of course, depends on the fee that you choose to award the miner with. This is something because the miners who are validating the transactions itself automatically by accumulating their hashing power, they can choose a specific fee that they can put their limits. For example, I'm a miner, I validate randomly the transactions that people are putting in the system. And like, for example, Alice is waiting for this confirmation for the transaction, and I put a minimum amount as a miner that I want to take for all my validations that I perform with my hardware. So the first thing that is, I would say, very big, of course, everything that is, just a second, I'm sorry for this interruption. The first thing that Bitcoin is valuable for is the fact that it is open for everyone. You cannot be restricted, you cannot be banned, you cannot be prevented from using Bitcoin. For example, some banks can ban, can delete, can eliminate you from their ecosystem. This in Bitcoin is completely impossible to happen, because it is open for absolutely everyone. it is peer-to-peer. It means that Alice sends directly her Bitcoins or Satoshis to Bob without someone in the middle validating it. I mean, like the bank or like an institution, like PayPal, for example, because all these interim third parties, actually, they are first loading additionally the process, either with time or with money, which, and of course, with, something very important that I don't have to forget to say is the fact that we have to always say who we are. I mean, I cannot, for example, right now buy my shoes privately. If I buy shoes from my bank will know that I bought these shoes. And it's not about the fact whether it's good to buy shoes or no and how you're going to use your money. It's the fact that it's our right way to keep it without any censoring from anyone. So Bitcoin is censorship resistant. It's decentralized. This is the fact that it's been in parallel. The blockchain of Bitcoin, Valerio, please tell me if I am not saying it absolutely properly, but is being validated by all the full nodes that are currently running within the system. So every single node must have this consensus. I mean, it must be okay for everyone, and everybody must be updated during the same time.
Yeah, the idea is that the transactions are collected in this block, and every miner try to write. I mean, they has a kind of competition, but no one can approve a block that has not the consensus. The consensus is very simple. It's a set of rules that say, oh, you have to check this, you have to check that. The size of block has a maximum. Every transaction needs some specific limits like size or you cannot spend an output. I mean, you cannot spend money 2 times, and every node validate these rules. So one node will write this block in the blockchain, but everyone will validate. And if you have your node, you will consider valid only the blocks that are valid for the consensus rule of your node. So you can really check every transaction. It's like you have a bank account, but you check every transaction that the bank that your bank made with you, for you or for other people also. So you strictly check that that the block and all the block in the blockchain are valid before think that your money, that you have this money. So if you have this Bitcoin, it means that you validate the story, the history of this of the complete blockchain.
Okay, great. So, and I am wondering here, so is it possible to be part of the ecosystem, to run your full node from your hardware at home, to support this decentralization without having any Bitcoins?
Yeah. It's okay. Running a full node is not so. It's you can buy some full node, some low consumption full node, and put at home. You can use without if you don't have Bitcoin also, but you can store the blockchain on your hard disk, but it's you are not really helping the net. I mean,
Aha. And how, for
actually,
example, what is the thing that all the women, we can do, the easiest thing right now, for example, that we can do in order to support this decentralization? So I know that the Bitcoin's blockchain right now is really heavy. I mean, I cannot download it with my hardware here with my Mac because I don't have this capacity. It's not enough just to, I mean, I don't know. I just need to buy another hardware most probably, but is this going to help? So what exactly I'm going to do if I run my full node from
your full node help yourself. I mean, when you need to check if you really have this money,
okay.
you have to validate the blockchain. And if you check on a block explorer, okay, you trust in the block explorer. You didn't validate personally
Right.
your full node. This is the first reason. The second reason is for privacy. I don't want to give my addresses or my information to a public explorer or to
Right.
a public node. I will prefer to have my validation computer. It's very simple. It can be an old PC with a big hard disk, and this is much better because it means that you validate on your personal computer and nobody know what are you searching. So
be
for
your own
privacy,
bank.
it's very important.
Be your own bank, right?
Yeah.
End to end. So with the privacy, censorship resistant, completely decentralized, no one is monitoring you, what you're doing with your own value, with your own money, how you're spending your money.
And they cannot block you. I mean,
this is vital. Yeah, this is unique.
I mean, a lot of people cannot. Okay, in Europe maybe no, but in United States some people cannot open a bank account, or people that has less than, for Europe, maybe 18-year-old cannot open a bank account. How you can open a bank account? How you can receive money if you cannot open or you cannot have? So and Bitcoin don't care about about your age. Don't care how you will spend your money.
Right.
I mean, if you take care,
this is
nobody
personal
will care.
responsibility, right? It's personal responsibility. It's something like why we have to wear all these masks when we go out right now, because this is personal responsibility. We can wear them, we cannot wear them. So this is absolutely so. Because there are also lots of speculations that people are saying exactly because of the fact that Bitcoin is for everyone. It's censorship resistant. It's actually impossible to trace it. It's untraceable. So lots of people were speculating with the fact that it might be also used by criminals, but I don't see actually the match point here, because we have plenty of examples how criminals are using with the same power cash.
It's not true that Bitcoin is totally untraceable. I mean, if you don't care, you will say to all the world how many Bitcoin you have.
Right.
And when I send you the address, my address for receive, you will, if I didn't care enough, you can know how many Bitcoin I have, or you can, and you can know a lot of things about me because you validate every transaction. The only things that Bitcoin give to you is the anonymity of the address. So if I have an address,
maybe connected with a name, you mean?
Yeah, I cannot connect, or maybe I can connect only one address that I will use only one time. So you have only this information. I send you this money. Okay, thank you. And and
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
and there is nothing interesting in it. But if I don't care about my privacy, or I use the same address, this is another common mistake, I can show to all the world that I have this money. For some situation, it's very interesting. I think at the last of this presentation, you have a case in which it's good that everybody know how many Bitcoin there is in one account. Uh, um,
Right. So at the end of the presentation, by the way, I am disclosing one of my addresses. So when we reach there, we're going to talk about this again. So most
yeah,
probably I'm
okay.
traceable, because right now I'm giving publicly in front of all these 15 people, 14 people. So
Yeah.
if you want to trace me, now it's
Yeah.
the time. You can trace me right now,
Yeah,
what
yeah, yeah.
I've done with my Bitcoin. Thanks, Valerio. So, what is Bitcoin not? Here, I'm really sorry. Here is missed. What is Bitcoin? This is not Bitcoin. Today, I don't know Canva also, because I'm using Canva for my slides. And also Canva got crazy today. Last time, our live was interrupted due to the technical issues that we have. Before I'm going to tell you what is Bitcoin not, I want to tell you that what happened with our last first live webinar cannot happen to Bitcoin because there is a satellite and practically, actually, you don't need internet in order to use Bitcoin, which is for me something wonderful. I mean, this is a very, very big plus that this satellite is supporting the system. In this world, in the crypto community, in the Bitcoin blockchain world, people often talk about fiat. And honestly, me, like a donna, like a lady, the first thing when I heard the fiat, it was a Fiat Cinquecento, and this is my favorite car. Uh, but this is actually a way people are naming the cash. This is not fiat. This is nothing connected with the standard money. I see some people also when they're explaining Bitcoin, they're also trying to compare it to PayPal, which is definitely not the case, because most of you, I think, in this call, they have used at least one time PayPal. We know how it works. Actually, you deposit money in PayPal, so you are providing PayPal with your information, and PayPal with your money, and PayPal on your behalf are doing the transactions respectively in order you to receive your goods that you have ordered. So Bitcoin is not fiat. Bitcoin is not definitely PayPal. Bitcoin is not typical money in general. Bitcoin is the first electronic digital money. It's not like here we come to the history and some data about Bitcoin. It's not the case that before Bitcoin there haven't been any experiments. Lots of people were trying to invent the digital money. There have been several projects before Bitcoin. Lots of technical, we call them nerds, tech geeks, cryptographers were trying to find a solution. And in Actually, this is what Satoshi Nakamoto, a person or a group of people, nobody actually knows, because this person remained anonymous. So nobody, there was speculations in people who want to associate themselves with him, and there lots of people going on the street, hey, I'm Satoshi, I'm Satoshi. But in fact, the reality is that nobody knows who is the real Satoshi. Is it a single person or several people? So I would really encourage all of you to go to historyofbitcoin.org. So it's a place where you can see and you can trace the full history and the story of Bitcoin from its very beginning. The very vital thing is that Bitcoin is live since 3rd of January 2009. 0301. This is the first the so-called zero, the Genesis block. On that date, I think in the afternoon, I don't want to make speculations with the exact hour, but on that date, there was the first block, the first transaction performed on Bitcoin's blockchain. There is something very interesting when you later have time and you're willing to know more about the history. When you go on that website, you're going to see that in 2010, in May 20th of May 2010, there was a very big transaction of 10,000 bitcoins for one pizza. Actually, this is the most expensive pizza in the history. Of course, during that time, bitcoins, let's say that these 10,000 bitcoins were a value of $25. However, right now when we look at cryptocompare.com and also Valerio, who is something like cryptocompare.com, because he's always aware of everything that's happening with Bitcoin, we see a completely different, very different numbers. So Bitcoin right now, it has reached, but I don't want to talk about prices. This is not the case. So I will close this topic here. I would like to encourage you to go to this website, History of Bitcoin, because there are lots of events that it's quite interesting. You have to read it on your own just to follow the logic. So it's a very interesting, because okay, we're talking here about Bitcoin, we're discussing stuff, but actually who is using Bitcoin? We see on our meeting today, we have lots of people from Bulgaria, we have someone from London, we have people from Switzerland. Bitcoin is definitely being used nowadays more and more in Europe. But the reality is that the first people who started using Bitcoin in their day-to-day lives are, I would say, Americans, because there are also lots of ATMs, such big bankomats and post terminals, which are already existing also in Europe. However, in America, due to the fact, I don't know, maybe there are stronger communities over there, people who are working in that direction, you can go and have beer with Bitcoin, you can buy your meals with Bitcoin, you can perform basic payments with Bitcoin, and step by step this is happening also here. Unfortunately, when you use this is my if I say experience or perception that I have, in order you to use all this software or hardware, like for example, to use an ATM or a POS, there is always such hidden interests or kind of commissions that they're taking either from you or from the receiver, respectively. So the best thing remains you to, if you have, if you create your own wallet on your computer or on your mobile phone, you can absolutely without any problems transfer and trade your bitcoins. Around Bitcoin, since its creation and the development, because Bitcoin is a living organism, it's non-stop being updated, developed, in terms of the fact that there are lots of applications who are being built on it in order to support people and variety of businesses. There are very strong communities in Italy. I can talk about Italy because this is what I see for now, and I'm really happy to have Beatrice Albertini with us today, who is the social media manager and the community manager of Bitcoin People Italy in Brescia. Hi, Beatrice, once again.
Hi, everybody, once again.
Hi, thanks for joining. Beatrice, could you please brief us, tell us some info about you, what you did, what is Bitcoin for you?
Okay.
Thank you.
What is Bitcoin for me?
Yep.
First off, my presentation. Bitcoin for me, well, it's freedom. We can say it's financial freedom. But at the same time, I think Bitcoin is also a very, as I can say, social technology.
Right.
Because communities have always had a central role in its development, improvement, and its spread. And yeah.
Right. So this
What I think about
Bitcoin is making people go together. Valerio is organizing a Satoshi Spritz, which is a virtual this time. So after this meeting, we are going to join the Satoshi Spritz virtual. So everything is about community. And what about the community in Brescia, Beatrice? Who are Bitcoin people in Brescia?
Okay, well, Bitcoin People is a very young community and company. First of all, we are exactly 1 year old, and as you told before, we are based in Brescia, in northern Italy, close to Milano. With a team of experts, we provide consultancy, workshops, seminaries, and all of activities and classes in order to make people aware of the Bitcoin's world.
Right,
So
and you have such wonderful shirts also. This one is from Bitcoin People.
Yeah.
I'm wearing my hoodie. I'm proud to have it. So.
And we have other models in production.
Right. So
yeah.
I'm impatiently waiting to see them.
So we help people to understand how Bitcoin works, how, for example, to buy it or sell it, how to use it as a new payment method for shops and commercial activities. And of course, we share all the hot news about this technology on our social media. Our approach is very simple and easily understandable because we really want to reach more people possible. Our aim is indeed to create a very strong community, first of all in our city, Brescia, and to make people use Bitcoin in their everyday life. So unfortunately, we live in a country where cash money is still the most used, as you everybody know, where many shops and commercial activities don't even accept cards, digital payments. And here we really want to show people there can be an alternative. And this alternative is the decentralized finance. It's Bitcoin, and as we love to say, people can really become their own banks. So we do know it will take time to have a real mass adoption. But yeah, we also believe in the power of communities and to share and spread ideas. So in a few months, we realized we could become a benchmark for all the Bitcoiners of our city. And we've been able to grow a group of people who already knew at different levels, of course, the Bitcoin's world, but that didn't have the possibility to meet up because there was no place for them here in Brescia.
Right.
People really needed a place where they could meet and discuss about Bitcoin.
Right.
So
And right now you're performing such seminars.
yeah,
Of course, right now, it's not possible. These seminars to be face to face. They're virtually face to face, but it's great.
Yeah,
That's
indeed.
pleasant.
All of us, all of you now, is probably experiencing some kind of social distance.
Yeah, we're trying to
Yeah,
minimize it.
Unfortunately, no, Italy was the first country in Europe to lock down and to prevent people meeting. But yeah, I'm very glad to see communities can still gather on the web, on internet, online, and we can meet, interact, and we are now the example of this magic. Let's call it magic.
Yeah, it is definitely because I'm not completely sure that mm, everybody was there in the beginning, but Bitcoin is kind of really distraction, because once you understand that such thing exists, you literally want to shut yourself and say, oh my god, what have you been doing so long time? Because, for example, when I started calculating how much money I have literally spent on transactions during the years, on such taxes from the bank, which are monthly, yearly, just for their administration, the fact that they store my money and they put it on their application, me to see these numbers and just to be capable to control them, they're taking from me lots of money for this. And I actually, with Bitcoin, I do it first instantly. I can do without waiting hours and days for a transaction to be transferred, and it's so cheap. I would say it's for free. It's like for free once you start
Yeah,
using.
almost.
Yeah, thanks Patrice. I'm monitoring Bitcoin people's work closely, so I'm really happy to support you guys and to be part of your team. We keep in that direction, and we organize many events. Doesn't matter right now, it's not possible to do it face to face.
We hope this crazy situation will end as soon as possible, and we hope we can start again with our workshops, seminars, Bitcoin happy hours.
Right.
And
sure.
yeah, maybe with new friends.
Very soon.
Hopefully.
And everybody is welcome to come to Italy, Brescia, and to join one of those seminars.
Yeah. And you can find us on all the social media we have, like Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn. And you can feel free to contact us, write us, and ask more about our job.
Perfect. Thank you, Beatrice.
Thank you, Valeria.
Thank you. So I wanted here to discuss something. Maybe Valerio can also support us here. But lots of friends of mine, colleagues are asking me, they're really astonished from the fact when they understand it's not mandatory to buy one Bitcoin. The majority of people think, oh my God, if I have to buy Bitcoin, I don't have such money to buy Bitcoin. And the majority of people don't know that in Bitcoin, there is kind of cents, pennies, stotinka in Bulgarian. So it's the so-called satoshis. So what is the minimum amount to transact, Valerio, in Bitcoin? What's the minimum amount of Bitcoins that can be actually transmitted from one wallet to another?
0. You can move 0 Bitcoin also, but usually you don't do it. So the minimum is 1 Satoshi, but it will not work also because 1 Satoshi actually is a very it's very low. It has very low value. So in order to avoid that a lot of transaction with one Satoshi make full every block. And this is interesting because if you allow this, you can pump up the fees. So miners can create a lot of fake transaction for pump up fees, but
Mario, telling me that miners can manipulate the system in this way? Is it a manipulation or is a...
No, actually no.
Okay.
But because it's not so interesting manipulate in this way. But Satoshi decide to, okay, after a bit, put some limit to the minimal amount that you can move, and these are named dust limits. It's a very interesting idea because the dust limit is connected on if this transaction is interesting or no. I mean, if I move a little amount of Bitcoin and I have to pay more Bitcoin for the fee, this transaction is a kind of transaction without value, because if I want to move this money to another one, I have to pay more than Satoshi inside the transaction.
So
I mean, it's a kind of
the fee itself is bigger than the amount, so they put like there is a minimum requirement which makes sense to be translated.
The fees are connected with the transaction dimension. So you cannot have if you move 1 million or €1, you will have the same fee because it is connected only to the dimension, and there is a limit. The limit is 1 Satoshi for each byte you use. So you use some space in the blockchain, you will pay for this space. And they put a limit, so you cannot move less than a number of Satoshi, because if you move less, it means that this transaction, you will have a transaction that you cannot spend, because maybe you need more money to spend. If I give you one transaction with €1 and you need €10 for move it in fee, it means that I send you -9 euro transaction. So it's kind of not clever transaction.
Yeah.
So for this reason, there is a limit, and they call it a dust limit. Every transaction under the dust is a dust transaction. So it's very bad for you cannot spend it easily. And there is another big problem with dust transaction. We recognize I can try to discover who you are, because I can send a lot of dust transaction to a lot of addresses, and after I can check which addresses spend transaction to this dust transaction together. So, and when you spend a lot of transaction together, you are losing your privacy. So maybe I can send a lot of dust transaction and wait that you spend some Bitcoin with these dust transactions.
But is it an actual case scenario? Do you know whether someone has done it, or it's just
some receive little transaction with very little amount, and the idea is that nobody give you money, but they send some transaction because they think that your wallet will be so stupid that try to spend together with a bigger transaction. And if I spend together 2 coins, I know that I send you this coin and you are spending this. So these, the 2 addresses are the same. So I can impact on your privacy. For this reason, a lot of wallets are giving you some new feature to decide which coins you can spend for every transaction. I mean,
Okay, this
for
is kind
example,
of a feature in the wallet itself. In order, it's like a preventive measure, or
yeah, it's hard because you can create some logic, but people that want to know the amount of your Bitcoin can create a more complex logic. And actually, for example, a lot of people that has Bitcoin usually clean it using a mixer. And what happened if I spend some mixed output with one of these transactions? So if I send my address, or maybe if I check on the blockchain which address receive a lot of Bitcoin, I can send very little transaction, and I will wait that they spend this transaction together for learn more about these addresses.
okay, it sounds very, very complicated, Valerio. For sure, I would say that we have to follow up your website, valeriovacaro.it, and all your analytics that you perform on Bitcoin. And before doing anything on Bitcoin, we first check these stats and educate ourselves. This is for sure. Thank you. Aside from this, I'd like to provide to you some verified sources for learning. First, I'd like to make sure that everyone is aware of the website of Bitcoin. It is bitcoin.org. So it's not the rest of the Bitcoin sites that you can see popping up in the network when you browse for them. The legit one, the only one is bitcoin.org. So Andreas Antonopoulos, I do strongly recommend people who want to dive deeper in this topic from a more economical standpoint. Andreas Antonopoulos and Saifeddin Ammous, both of them lecturers and professors, are people who are capable to talk in an economic and understandable, I would say, for everyone language. I do strongly advise you to check these 2 influencers who are really, I would say, 2 of the most wanted speakers around the world, and are being non-stop invited on a lot of seminars. Yes, please go ahead.
And let me say that Andreas wrote, I think, the most interesting book on Bitcoin. It's a Mastering Bitcoin. It's very interesting. It's technical, but has everything inside, as politics, as technical side, as examples, and it's free, so you can download in English, and you can download in Italian also. That is a free version that you can
Bulgarian?
download. In Bulgarian also, I think.
Oh, great. So I'll have a look at it. I didn't know it. Thanks, Valerio. So there is another initiative I wanted just to mention to you. It's a helperbit.com. I think that this target has been already achieved. It's about donations in Bitcoin, which has been published with the support of the Red Cross here in Italy. For our region, COVID-19 is COVID-19. I think that already maybe the dates, the status in the online page is not the actual, because they still have 82%, but I know from some articles they have overachieved the target for the donation.
Yeah, but
So,
they decide to increase and buy other stuff.
okay, perfect. Thank you. I didn't
They
know it.
launched another one.
They launched another one. Bea, could you please share
maybe.
it if you have it in here in the chat, people to see it?
I'm trying to find it.
Okay, if you
We
find it.
share it on our Facebook page some days ago.
Okay, perfect. If you wish, then you can
Yeah.
copy paste it in the here in the common chat in order people to see and also to start following Bitcoin people Italy. Thanks, Bea. So basically, this was it today. That's what we've planned to present to you. I'm really encouraging each one from you. If you have any questions to write to me, this is my email vau.georgieva@protonmail.com. Any feedback, I love feedback. So in order to do it better next time, the idea of these webinars are at some point to start being, I would say from the next one, episode 2, to start being more interactive with educational purposes. Very soon we're going to announce our next topic, and most probably I would like to see several open source wallets and people to start using wallets like Electrum and Wasabi, the good ones. So we are going to have additional webinars with additional topics, with additional learning stations, which will be mainly, but not only, dedicated to women in order to keep it step by step, without any complications, just to make sure that we are up to date with whatever is needed with the actual technology, and we keep ourselves isolated from all the ongoing scam that unfortunately is happening, but is also very healthy for the environment. This is, by the way, BTC only. This is my Bitcoin address. So this is the address of my wallet. So if you want to send me Bitcoin, please feel free to do so. Satoshis or Bitcoins, I accept everything. It's Bitcoin only. And thank you very much. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank Beatrice and Valerio.
Thank you, Valeria.
Their preparations and introduction and the formation. Thank you.
It was a real pleasure to be here tonight.
Thank you, Beatrice. Same for me.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Bye, everyone.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.